And welcome everybody to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We're going to do something a little different. This is our college football championship game preview show, and it's that day. And we thought, who else better to bring in to do this than our resident Ohio State expert, the gamble guy, El Jefe, the Godfather himself. Welcome to the program, El Jefe. Boy, you got to be feeling kind of like what I was feeling like Saturday. Hopefully, for you, it turns out better than what it did for me on Saturday night.
I hope so. I feel bad though. I wanted to show my colors, but we could have been matching today. I have the same jacket, but I mean, we could have coordinated, but I had to show my allegiance. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's a championship game, so anything can happen. But I think you probably had more fear going into your game than I do mine right now.
Well, I did. You know, it's funny, and I'm not going to use any excuses. Detroit got outplayed. They got outcoached. Jaden Daniels is on a roll. I don't care what anybody says. And that's the name of the game right there. And once you get to the playoffs and tonight for you guys, the team that makes the less turnovers more than likely is going to win and less mistakes. Just ask Mark Andrews last night, eh? That game against Buffalo. Boy, that guy, all I could think of for us old timers, El Jefe, was Jackie Smith in the end zone for in that Dallas-Pittsburgh Super Bowl, for the Cowboys way back in the day, man. I feel sorry for him. He catches the pass and then misses that easy 2-point play. Oof, man, that's rough.
There's a few things unpacked there that you just said. First of all, if you were going to make excuses for the Lions, they did score 31. They were missing, I think, like 6 starters on defense.
Yeah.
So that's just a tough situation to go into. As far as Mark Andrews, I don't know if you saw the Baltimore Ravens pregame post on X where they said the cold and snow doesn't affect Mark Andrews, and freezing cold takes chimed in after the game and said, "I guess you were wrong on that one."
Oh boy, that's rough. But you know what? Hey, that's the nature of the beast, and that's why they play the games, man. You just never know. So, speaking of a game, El Jefe, we've got a monster tonight. One team I didn't think was going to be in it, that being Notre Dame, and one team I'm not surprised at all that's going to be in it, and that's Ohio State. Right now, the line is 8.5. The favorite for Ohio State, the over-under on this one, 45.5. And, we'll ask for your prediction towards the end of the show, but I guess my first couple of questions for you is on the defensive side of the ball, can Ohio State, can they contain Notre Dame? What are they going to do to contain their running game?
Well, we are talking about the number 1 scoring defense in the nation and the Ohio State Buckeyes. I have a ton of things pulled up on my screens, but I have an idea. I want to see what they give up per game rushing, and I think I could find that fairly quickly. That doesn't disparage Notre Dame because I think they're the second or third best scoring defense in the nation. And I'll tell you what the computer said here in a minute on 12ouncesports.com. It's predicting a low score. So I'm looking at this defensive stats, rushing yards. Ohio State gives up 89.9 per game, and Notre Dame gives up 133. Ohio State's third in the nation against the run. Does that mean that they're going to shut Notre Dame down? No, not necessarily. But I think their biggest threat's probably Jeremiah Love. And much like Texas did to Ohio State, I think Ohio State's going to do to Notre Dame. We're going to focus on shutting down your star and seeing if your, unsung heroes can step up to the plate. That's Ohio State had to find ways to win against Texas because Texas clearly said Smith's not going to beat us. Will Ohio State come out? I mean, Jim Knowles has been unbelievable on defense. Will they come out and say Jeremiah Love's not going to beat us? So you're going to have to do something else. So the Buckeyes give up under 90 rushing a game.
That's not too bad, and that's a stat to really keep in mind. And that's the one thing that I never had an issue with was Ohio State's defense. I mean, even in the regular season, it didn't take much to contain Michigan, but they only gave up 13. But in some of the other cases against Penn State, they shut them down. It was amazing after that first series against Penn State where they gave up the touchdown or whatever the pick. It was even if it was a pick 6, their defense was stellar throughout the whole game. So I tend to agree with you on that. I think they're going to expose Riley Leonard for his I don't want to say inadequacies with passing, but I just think they're going to expose that and keep them pretty one-dimensional. And I think they're just going to put 8-9 in the box and dare him to beat them.
Well, here's a fun fact. There's only one team this season that has scored over 17 points on the Buckeyes, and that was Oregon. And then, of course, you know what they did to Oregon in the Rose Bowl. So you have to ask yourself, is Notre Dame's offense as good as Oregon's? If you don't think so, them scoring more than 17 might be a big challenge tonight.
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame's offense is nearly as good as Oregon's. I don't want to take anything away from Notre Dame. I mean, you win this many games, you win in the spotlight, you deserve to be there. I don't care who you beat. You still got to beat the teams you played in front of them. But I'll say this until the cows come home. I don't think Notre Dame's schedule was nearly as difficult as Ohio State's.
No, and I think that's in the rankings, the schedule rankings. I mean, Notre Dame does average 37 a game. They have a slightly better offense than Texas. The thing is I think Texas was able to create more opportunities for themselves than Notre Dame will be. Yeah, Notre Dame's good on defense, but again, we're talking about maybe a mid-level schedule versus Ohio State's schedule didn't really get tough till the end of the season, but Notre Dame can put up points. I don't know about putting up points on this team. So this could be either a defensive battle or a blowout. I mean, the computer on 12ouncesports.com predicts 20-10, not a very high scoring game.
Well, I think we could talk about Notre Dame's defense, like you said, containing Ohio State's playmakers. The one that I think is going to stand out, my prediction for tonight, that could be the difference maker for Ohio State is Travion Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
I think running the ball. I really think that, they're going to key on their outside playmakers, that being Notre Dame's defense and trying to shut down Will Howard. But Henderson, to me, for some reason, maybe it's just me, I think he's one of the unsung heroes of Ohio State's offense. I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't think he gets enough spotlight. And I think that he could be the weapon tonight for Ohio State.
This could be a bold take, but I think he's actually more explosive than Judkins. I've watched, obviously, every game this season. And any kind of big play, breakout play, it seems to be Travion Henderson. And he arguably saved their championship run last week or 10 days ago, whenever it was, when he took that screen pass where Ohio State was clearly just trying to make something happen and probably run out the clock and go to halftime. He busted it open, scored a long touchdown, and that ended up being, I think, the difference, because you take the Jack Sawyer fumble away, and we have a whole different story. But that touchdown really changed the momentum, because Texas had just stole all the momentum, and Ohio State was in the position, all right, we're going to try a screen pass, but we're going to run out the clock, go to halftime. Travion busted open. I don't think Judkins could have pulled something like that off. So Henderson's definitely somebody to keep an eye on tonight. Even though he doesn't start, he doesn't get as many carries. He could be the hero tonight.
So we all know what happened in the Michigan game, and I don't want to keep bringing it up, but I think it lit a fire under their asses, to be honest with you. But what do you think in your mind flipped the switch for Chip Kelly and deciding to play the playmakers? I mean, it just looked like he didn't utilize them as much in that Michigan game. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, El Jefe. I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I know all your fans, you Michigan fans, are saying, we gave you the blueprint to beat Ohio State. I think the real blueprint was from Texas. Texas was just unfortunate at the end of that game that their quarterback fumbled and it was returned for a long touchdown. The blueprint wasn't set at the Michigan game. The Michigan game, the problem was they coached scared. And It reminds me of John Cooper. John Cooper would coach scared every week 12. And they did that against Michigan. They ran the zone run, which plays right into the defensive line's hands for Michigan instead of, counters. But I think Texas set the blueprint for Notre Dame. Take away the up-top passes, keep everything underneath, and force Ohio State to nickel and dime you and see if they can put together 10 to 15 play drives. I think a team like Ohio State has all these explosive guys, gets impatient, and then they make mistakes. I think that's the way to beat Ohio State.
Well, I I don't know if Notre Dame has that in them. And let's go back to them for a minute. We talked about their schedule. I mean, again, who would have thought after they lost at home to Northern Illinois? I mean, I know that's an anomaly. It probably is, but it's amazing how you can just have a total just a lack of production against a team like, your game was Michigan. Ohio or Notre Dame's was Northern Illinois, just one game. But the difference being here is Notre Dame couldn't afford to lose again in the regular season, and they didn't. And I think that's a testament to bouncing back after that loss. Who'd have thought that after losing to Northern Illinois, huh?
I can't wrap my head around that loss. And but you said something about, I don't mean to keep bounce back to Ohio State, but you said something about the Michigan game. We had a red flag before the Michigan game, and it was Nebraska. We actually needed a couple defensive stops at the end of that game to beat Nebraska. Nebraska is a miserable football team. But the Northern Illinois game, I can't wrap my head around. But then you look, they beat Purdue 66-7, my alma mater. Miami, Ohio, they didn't beat Miami, Ohio 28-3, but we're talking back school. But then they knocked off Louisville, who was ranked. Stanford stinks. Georgia Tech, they actually kind of dominated. Georgia Tech's played some teams tough.
Yeah.
And then they got a boost from rankings. Navy was ranked when they blew them out. Florida State stinks. Army was ranked when they blew them out. I think their most impressive win of the year, aside from Texas A&M, which was week 1, is that last week against USC, where they put up 49 points and beat a team that has beaten LSU. And then help me out, who did USC beat in their bowl game?
Oh my God.
I'll click on them.
We can look at it over the break too. We'll take a break in a couple minutes when we figure it out.
Right here for you. They beat no, it doesn't show their anyway. Yeah, they beat LSU and then somebody good in the bowl game. I don't see it on this site I'm on, but so Notre Dame can surprise folks. Who knows what's going to happen tonight?
It's going to be a wide open. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm going to try to stay up for it. But so I got to ask you this before we go to break. Is this a Ryan Day redemption tour?
Well, I think this will at least save him from the constant criticism. I'm not naive or I'm not, looking through rose-colored glasses. Ohio State fans can really be annoying.
Yeah.
But we also hate losing to that team up north every year. Ask John Cooper. John Cooper's downfall was he also couldn't win the week after Michigan. Ryan Day does consistently win bowl games and play in big games and in playoffs. I don't think his job's in jeopardy. So what this championship will do will validate the season and not have a bunch of fans saying this was a waste of a season. I've heard rumors that Ryan Day may win this title and walk off like Harbaugh did and just say, you know what, you guys can take your weekly criticism and find somebody else and I'll go to the NFL. I don't know.
Well, I guess it also depends on how much money he's offered to go to the NFL. You know what? Before you got, you tied in, you teased a great question because I was going to ask this about Marcus Freeman. You've heard the rumors. All right, let's say Notre Dame finds a way to win tonight. I've already heard, Chicago wants him. They want to interview him. Do you really think Marcus Freeman would bolt to the pros if he won a natty tonight against Ohio State?
Well, I always look at these things through my own mind, but I don't run their lives. I personally would rather coach college. I think there's a little bit of a longer, well, depends on where you coach, but it seems like there's a little more lifespan there. Plus, I think he's probably got it pretty good at Notre Dame. I wouldn't leave Notre Dame for any job at Ohio State if I was Marcus Freeman.
No, I'll tell you what, if he wins a natty, he's going to be a god there. I mean, he'll be right up there with Lou Holtz and, Ara Parseghian and Knute Rockne for all that, for that matter. All right, we're going to take a quick break, 60-second break. We're going to be back. Got some questions about the tournament itself. Then we'll make our predictions. You're watching the College Football Championship Game the Championship Game Preview Show right here on 12 Ounce Sports.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
That's right. We are your ticket broker. We don't charge those crazy fees you see at some of those other sites. And we got tickets for the conference championship games this weekend too. And NHL, college basketball, that season's starting to ramp up a little bit. And use the promo code 12OZ as well. You can get a little bit more off of your price of your tickets. And that's 12ouncesports.com/tickets. Welcome back to the college football championship game pre-game show. El Jefe, the Godfather, the Gamble Guy, whatever you want to call him, joining us live here for a few more minutes or so. We will get to our predictions in a few minutes. I want to ask you a couple of questions on the playoff. I personally loved it. I love the 12-team format. I love the opening round being at home sites. I think it added a charm to it, if nothing else. I know most of the games were blowouts, but can you see any tweaks for next year, maybe coming to the college football playoff? If there's one thing you wanted to change going into next year, what would it be?
Well, before I get to that, I'm El Jefe with the geeky glasses, and then when I put on the sunglasses and get the cigar, then I'm the Gamble Guy.
Atta boy.
There's a definite tweak that needs to be done. I'm going to age myself, but in 1993, I was a freshman at a D3 college called Mount Union. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
yeah.
we had 16 teams. Now they're up to 32 teams. I think we need 16 teams, no first round buys, and the first two rounds need to be home games. I think the atmosphere we saw with home games cannot be matched. Yes, the Rose Bowl's awesome. Yes, the Fiesta Bowl's awesome, but home field advantage plus, for all you SEC honks, I think we found out, it's not so easy going up north in January. So I think this is going to, give us. I put out a YouTube short about hope. Really, what we want with sports is every team to have hope. 16 teams seems right, and I think that's the only tweak they need to make. All this complaining really would be eliminated if we had 16 teams and we didn't have automatic buys. So, because Boise State probably didn't deserve an automatic buy. And Penn State did have an easier path if they would have made it to the title. So that's my only tweak. I don't know. What do you think? Too many teams?
Well, we had a little bit of a glitch there. Sorry about that. Got to love the internet sometimes. The only tweak that I would make would be if they're going to stick with 12 teams, I think they need to reseed after the opening round. My problem with it was the teams that didn't win the conference championship, i.e. Penn State and Texas, got a pretty easy path, an easier path than Ohio State and Oregon and Georgia, maybe. It's almost like Oregon and Georgia got penalized for winning that championship game. But I also, you got to keep some integrity to winning the championship game too, if you're going to keep those as well.
Well, hopefully I wasn't glitching on you, but that's kind of what I said. I don't think we should have first round buys. I think we should have 16 teams. Everybody has to play first and second round games, and then you won't have Boise State's just sitting out there waiting to get dominated by a Big Ten team. I think, and I don't think the seeding should have to do with if you won a conference title or not. You can give conference champions automatic bids, but not automatic seedings. I think it needs to be seeded accordingly, and then let's just play it out.
I love your comment too about the first round games. I think what I would do is maybe make the semifinals and the finals at the Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, whatever, and rotate it. Let those three, the other three get it the next year and so on. Because it adds an ambiance. And again, to your point, the SEC teams can come up and play in the cold weather, and then maybe the Ohio States and Penn States and, if Michigan or Michigan State make it, they can go back, go down south if they have to. I love that atmosphere. And it's so funny is people were wondering if Notre Dame would get enough people to go there in December because the students were there. Are you kidding me? I mean, right. College football is, it's an institution, and it is. Look at the NIL money that's being poured in for some of these kids. You're telling me that your team, if you make it, you're not going to want to go to these games? I mean, come on.
Right. And somebody pointed out on a different show, Rick Neuheisel's show on Sirius, there's only one other sport that gets more viewers and more interest, and that's the NFL. So people are going to show up to these games, and that's why I think it's 16 teams in the first two rounds are home games for people. I mean, the atmosphere is just unbeatable.
Oh, I agree. And speaking of NIL real quick, it's just getting more and more. You and I have talked about, I think we talked about it on our playoff preview show about how out of control it's getting. And I mean, there was a rumor that Ewers was offered $8 to $10 million a year, and he turned it down. I mean, if that's the case, I don't know who's giving him the advice. I don't see him as a first round quarterback in the pros. Maybe he can change his mind. This money is just insane,
The only way it's going to change, and I think I think I don't want to call it lawmakers, but I think there is a push to put sort of a salary cap on the schools.
Yeah.
But that still leaves the door open for third parties to pay directly to the players, which is, I mean, it could get pretty sketchy. I think this is going to be a cyclical thing. It's going to take years to do it, but schools like Texas Tech are going to realize they have no return on investment, and then that number is going to start going down. But I think we have a decade of this before that happens. It's just too enticing now to, the Texas, and I bring up Texas Tech because the last time we did a show together, you brought up that those demands by that receiver, I think it was. It's too enticing for the Texas Techs right now because they saw Indiana, they saw Boise State make the playoff, and they probably think if we give this kid $5 million, we're going to make the playoffs. Not everybody can make the playoffs, so eventually these schools are going to, there's no return on an investment here. We got to stop paying all this money. But I think that's going to take some time.
Oh, it will. It'll be cyclical, absolutely. And then with the transfer portal, you're going to catch lightning in a bottle with some of these small schools. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. I want to, I've added a new segment to my shows, but unfortunately Presley is sleeping right now. I kind of want to wake her up. She's been running around with the Zooms all morning. So I'm going to give you her parlay and then one of my own. Okay. Right here, her parlay is a single game parlay. It's kind of different, but you can get positive money out of it. Take Ohio State money line and then take minus 14.5 or Notre Dame plus 14.5. It doesn't matter. And you get a positive parlay of 106. So that's the one we're going to go with. She's 2-0. She's had a monster weekend, a monster couple of weeks on the show. Her dog of the weekend wasn't Washington. It was Buffalo. So we cashed in on that. Her 3-team teaser parlay. That's the one I'm going with. And my other one, gamble guy or El Jefe, is I'm taking Ohio State minus 2.5, and I'm taking under 51.5. That's minus 120. So I think those are going to be my two bets that I make. I've had so much success not doing the regular conventional lines. I'm going with it, man. I'm rolling with those.
Well, Gamble Guy put out a pic on X, Instagram, and TikTok this morning. Built on MyBookie. MyBookie promo code 12OZ Sports, all caps, no spaces. You get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. You can build your own prop bets, prop parlays on MyBookie. And I was looking at the administrator page. We've had some signups, so we thank the viewers for doing that. I built my own parlay here out of props. I predicted there will be a defensive or special teams touchdown, and I predicted Ohio State will be the first team to score tonight. That parlay gives me plus 390.
Wow.
Fuzzy's not up here. I was going to do a Fuzzy's free play, but he missed his chance to shine on TV, so that's all we're doing.
It's plus, too cold for the animals to be even on TV today, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he's down on the couch, but plus 390 is my prop builder there on my bookie.
Wow, I'm going to put a pizza pie on that one. I like that. I like that bet.
Both teams have scored either a defensive or special teams touchdown in these playoffs, and I think Ohio State's going to come out guns a-blazing. So I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it's a risky parlay, but I feel pretty good about it.
Well, what's funny is I went back and forth on my ultimate prediction for the game tonight. You don't have to give one if you think it's superstitious because your team is playing tonight. I totally get it. You can do the Kirk Herbstreit and just do what to look for.
I'm making a prediction.
I am going to stay with the under. I'm thinking it's going to be Ohio State 28 and Notre Dame 17. I think they're going to get that touchdown late. It's going to be 21-17. It's going to be a close game. But I think the Buckeyes are going to get that touchdown in the fourth quarter. Travion Henderson's going to score it, put them up 11, and then Notre Dame's going to get the ball with about 6 minutes left, not do anything, and then a couple of kneel downs by Will Howard. And your team from down south is going to win the national championship. That's my pick.
That's pretty close to my prediction. Again, our computer model on 12ouncesports.com predicted Ohio State 20-10. I think pressure burst pipes. I think the pipes are going to burst tonight. I do want to point out before I make my prediction, the last time Notre Dame beat Ohio State, they've played 8 times in the history of the series, was 1936. The modern day football, 1995 to 2023, Ohio State 6-0 against Notre Dame for good reason. Again, the computer model says Ohio State by 10. I'm gonna pull up a little fun fact before I get to my prediction. Both teams are 3-0 against the spread in their last 3 games. Both teams. So something's got to give. What's going to give is Ohio State's defense, I think, has played better competition. I have the Buckeyes 31-13. I think they're going to pull away late, though. I think it's going to be good at halftime, and I think they're going to pull away. And 13 is because I see Notre Dame's going to have to get points when they can get them. So I think they're going to be more prone to kicking field goals versus Ohio State. So 31-13 Buckeyes.
Well, it's going to be a fun matchup. It gets underway at 7:30 tonight, which is a little bit better, a little bit earlier for guys like me that, don't have to stay up as late. I don't know if I'll still make it for the game. I will have it on record so I can look back and watch it. So yeah, it's going to be a fun time. So what's going to be your snack of choice tonight for the game?
Well, the lady and I made meatloaf Sunday, so I'm going to have a meatloaf sandwich probably. And then I don't know if I'll have any sweets. I'm trying to be strict during the week. I need to lose all that holiday weight.
Well, that's funny because my bride and I made chicken and dumplings last night. And, of course, we made enough for 8 people, so we got plenty left over. It's going to be a chicken and dumpling night, a little banana bread / cake for dessert that we made yesterday that Presley got up and she tried to get some of it. So, yeah, that's why she's a little grumpy this morning, I think. But you know what? It's going to be – that's our snack of choice. And being a school night, it's going to be Coke Zero tonight for me, no alcohol. But
sparkling
water.
A
fun game, It's really going to be a fun game. Good luck to you and your Ohio State Buckeyes. And good luck to the Notre Dame fans watching. I think it's going to be a dandy, and it's what it's supposed to be. College football at its best, and can't wait to see who the new champion is tomorrow.
Excellent. Fun doing the show with you, Lou. Always fun.
All right. For the Gamble Guy, El Jefe, yours truly, Captain Lou, saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on 12 Ounce Sports. So long.